I invented a new World of Warcraft game mode.
The Dwarven and Gnome starting zone of Dun Morogh is possibly the most well-fortified area in the game.
Yeah.
There are only 3 entrances,
I
one
like this
inside
editing
Ironforge
on his
itself
videos.
in the form
It's
of a
Jampanos.
deep-run tram, and 2 tunnels leading into the mountains from Loch Modan, which itself has only 2 entrances, from the south leaving the Badlands and from the northwest through a series of tunnels ascending the wetlands. Additionally, the place is littered with high-level guards. So, with that established, do you think it possible to travel to Dun Morogh as a level 4 Tauren on hardcore classic, traversing through everything we've just covered, if you can even get to that point?
This seems like a
dying?
pain.
Well, we might have to find out, because today I'm going to play classic hardcore, but every time I gain a level, I will spin a wheel to determine what zone I'm allowed to level in next. And
every level? Oh,
to decide our starting faction and race, we're gonna do just that.
That seems miserable. Mulgore. Okay. That seems
Say hello
rough.
to Zoner 1. Rolling Mulgore is possibly the worst start for 2 reasons. One, Horde is just objectively harder to play in this challenge. Mulgore and Durotar are linked through the Barrens, which is reasonably accessible through
They're so open.
And while Tirisfal Glades is perhaps somewhat tricky to reach, half of Silverpine Forest is home to Alliance-friendly NPCs. In
WoW leveling Nuzlocke? Yeah, Nuzlocke is that Pokemon thing, right? I guess it essentially is that. Did you see that Zoneman challenge that Stay Safe had developed? I heard something about that. I never did it, but I did hear about it, Yamafford.
contrast, Teldrassil is a tree out in the ocean, and
This
we've
is
already
rough.
talked about Dun Morogh. The only glimmer of light is Elwynn Forest, which is potentially accessible through Grom Gold.
Lulaby,
Reason
thank
number
you for the
2,
sub, 61.
Tauren are the only race unable to play as rogue, and having access to stealth in this challenge is an obvious benefit. Still, hunters do have ranged weapons, which is the only form of combat in the game that reliably can damage enemies far
And a
above
pit
their
when you get
level.
10.
Spells are subject to resisting, and melee hits glance, miss, get parried, and dodged. Still, our path now is quite straightforward. I went to scout the zone in case there was any errant exploration XP that I did not want to receive after gaining a level, but it proved mostly fruitless, so I went back to the mesa to gain our first level, and it was time to roll the second zone.
Dude, already? Tirisfal. Honestly,
While
that's
obviously
lucky.
it's quite paramount to luck our way into same faction areas at the early levels because of the lack of available resources. But as we are making our way across the Barrens, let's talk about the ground rules for this challenge. Number 1, no killing enemies or questing unless it's in the rolled zone. 2, no excessive exploration outside of rolled zones. 3, no gathering profession outside of the rolled zone.
This just seems like misery.
4, no intentional help from other players or alts. 5, no intentionally dying to farm good early games. And 6, the zones rolled will be within the available level range. Due to the nature of the challenge, sometimes it is impossible to avoid exploration XP, but in most cases you will avoid a significant portion by just sticking to the road, because the road is never a sub-area possible to explore. Additionally, at levels after like 4, exploration XP is so minor that unless we actively try, it will not lead to a level up.
And this is on hardcore as well? Like, why would you do this to yourself?
But in the edge case that it does, the rule is simply that we have to reach the zone before
041
rolling
now.
a new one. And trust me, reaching the zone is most assuredly the difficult part. At the onset, I was optimistic about picking up flight paths as I went along.
It's gonna go faster.
Thinking it might help me traverse and speed up the challenge. Little did I know just how broke I was going to end up being.
I was about to say, it actually costs quite a lot to fly early on.
Spending minimal time actually questing and killing mobs and majority traveling does not leave you with unbound riches. The Barrens is generally pretty safe to travel through, because it's already intended for low-level Tauren to make their way north to the crossroads after reaching level 10. In Tirisfal, it's as easy as not falling off the Zeppelin, heading to Deathnell, killing a few things, then back.
Dude, this took him half an hour to do. Just this first level of running there was half an hour.
To rolling.
And dinging. And now he has to go, back to Mulgore, Hearthstone, right?
So far, so good. Only Horde zones in this formative levels is once again not only appreciated, it's quite lucky.
Yeah.
There's a 50% chance to get either Horde or Alliance, meaning that 3 back-to-back Horde is only 1 in 8.
What is this? Oh, he's gonna go to Dun Morogh. Game is so bad you have to invent testicular torsion to enjoy it. I don't think he's enjoying this streak. On the contrary, this is like actual just pain and misery. There is no enjoyment in this. This is just like actual misery. But hey, he's doing it.
So, technically at this point, I don't even know if this challenge is possible if you roll Dun Morogh. It could be the case that it's a 1 in 6 that the challenge just ends.
It's 152.
Of course, that's not gonna stop me from at least trying to get in. We have to take this one step at a time. And the first task was to scout potential locations of entry into the zone.
Okay.
I hopped on my mage to lay the groundwork, and after scouting Loch Modan, I quickly came to the conclusion that it's most likely unrealistic to get through here, especially considering you also need to reach this in the first place.
If anything, I think it's I agree. It's a fun like challenge to overcome, and that's why I think this is so dope.
The viable entry being from wetlands, which would entail a long trek spanning the entire way from Tirisfal. Then you might be questioning if there's potentially a character unstuck skip, but the traditional one used for Alliance puts you right in front of the gates of Ironforge, next to 2 guards, guaranteeing instant death.
Yeah.
And the others are either inaccessible or put you deep within Dun Morogh.
Oh, no.
So it's a dead end in both regards.
Yeah.
There is another way. A quite straightforward path from Searing Gorge lets you skip up the hill straight into the starting zone. But without even considering the implications of reaching Searing Gorge in the first place, the way to Dun Morogh leads you high-tailing through an entire ensemble of level 50 elites, a scenario not too pleasant for a young Tauren. So after spending some time researching for perhaps an alternate route, like a wall jump or something of the sort up the hillside to
2 hours
a potential entryway, I give up on the prospect and once again return to the lock to seek a solution.
Okay.
The first obvious problem is that both the tunnels into Dun Morogh are off limits, as they are patrolled by guards. And any potential logout skip made inside them just brings you back to the lake. But this was rectified by a simple hike up a nearby mountain, putting you at the top of the closest peak, which means theoretically we have our way in, we just need to reach it. This brings us to the wetlands problem.
I mean, people have done this run, but on Horde at level 4?
An Alliance, running through wetlands is not a too distant reality, but taking the same route as Horde is simply impossible due to a single Alliance NPC blocking the way.
He could swim from wetlands all the way down to Westfall and run in through... Oh my god, that's crazy. I don't know, I don't even know. No, I don't know.
In turn, it leaves us with the option of coming from Arathi Highlands. Hopefully, it's going to be as simple as running through Tirisfal into Silverpine, then hill spread straight into Arathi. This would let us pick up flight paths along the way should we ever roll the zone again and need to make a second trip.
That's what I John.
Of course, it is never simple. At the very entrance of Hillspread lie 2 wildlife specimens that block our way into the zone. No matter what I tried, it was either certain death or a very high likelihood of, which is not great odds to bank on, especially since it won't be our first or last obstacle, and stacking probabilities is never a good idea. Now this leaves us with a very simple but arduous solution of just swimming around all of it. Something I desperately tried to avoid because it just takes a very long time, and it leaves us with 0 flight paths. It probably has the highest chance of working, but even considering that, there is no feasible entry into Arathi from the coast, and running through wetlands from that direction is off limits, but there is a way in. So I welcome you all to the Arathi Gambit. To start off, we simply start running from Tirisfal into Silverpine. Dodging some of the enemies along the way, we eventually reach the Sepulchre, where we descend down the cliffs into the water. The northern half of this coastline is infested with scary fish looking to feast on some wagyu, so we have to pay close attention to their patrol and retreat to the closest rock if it comes down to it. As the danger clears, we now embark on the 20-minute swim from Silverpine to the coast of Arathi. Along the way, there are some enemies in Hillspread to be wary of, but you can simply swim so far out as to not pose any threat. Now, to get up into the highlands, we have to use a trick familiar to some of you. In Falder's Cove, there is a small cave situated on the mountainside.
It's a little lockout skip. He's essentially changing zone every level that he gains, guys, and he's a hardcore character.
That is our target. But to get there, we first need to swim through a reef infested with Naga. There is no other way around except for this one very specific path. First, swim over the coral to dodge the 2 Nagas on either side. Keep going straight until the coast is clear, eventually turning and sticking to the close right of this rocky outcrop. Once past this, the danger is mostly gone, and after keeping a left of the drowned troll structure, it's a straight line to freedom. The next step is technically simple. We will reach the cave, then log out skip, taking us straight into Arathi to the graveyard next to Refuge Point. I did a quick retry of the path on my testing character, then logged in to the game on our torrent.
Oh god. No! 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 Oh my god, that's so lucky. Oh no! Wait, no shot, he gets healed. He just wasted like a solid 6 hours or something. But he learned!
So, apparently, that spider can patrol just slightly too close to the graveyard. And in my attempt to flee, I ran straight into an air elemental, costing me my life. A stray druid friend that happened to pass by tried his dearest to save us, but ultimately was just left confused by what had transpired. I even resisted the first cast from the elemental, which at my level is a 1 in 100 chance.
That's crazy.
Alas, the luck wasn't enough to keep us alive, and we simply have to go again.
Oof! Forgot to record the spin. Okay. Teldrassil.
Rolling Night Elf is possibly the best scenario out of any race.
Okay, right.
They have access to Rogue, and due to Shadow Meld, have an entire level of stealth higher than other races. And they are Alliance, which have comparatively easy access to the other faction zones. As fate would have it, we were quickly dealt the short straw, and as early as level 2 started making our way towards Durotar.
Not that bad though.
Now, this was right after losing my previous character, and I think
you gotta just go through Darkshore into Ashenvale and then Barrens and Durotar. It's not that bad.
A combination of putting in that much work and squandering it, plus general burnout, kinda made me a bit too carefree running through Darkshore, and an unfortunately placed Thistlebear was swift to punish my insolence, sending us back to square one.
Bro, there's no way Mulgore, back to Mulgore.
Honestly, while Tauren is probably objectively the worst race to get, I was still kinda happy to get a chance at redemption.
Okay.
And I really wouldn't have to wait long, as at level 2, we were already on our way back for
Run
revenge.
it back.
This was going to be a scenario that, due
1529.
to my extremely low level, I would ding on my way over there. Which means I still have to reach the zone before rolling a new one, such that I don't get a free level out of it. You know the drill. Through Tirisfal, into Silverpine, found a new path to the coast that skips all the fish because they were scary. 20-minute swim. While swimming, I just wanted to apologize for the slight lack of videos, you know? But there's actually good reason behind it. For the last 2 years, I've been developing a game with my friend, which took up a lot of my time. And balancing that plus YouTube was quite tricky. But we won't have to worry about that anymore because the game is released. When we started developing, we thought it was going to take around 3 months to finish, but it took 2 years. We had to spend that time to ensure the game turned out exactly how we first envisioned it. Game. So if you got some spare time, please check it out. It's really fun, and I'm also dead broke now, so I need it. Every single part of this game has been made by either my friend or myself. For example, I was responsible for creating every single art asset. So if you think it looks bad, you know who to blame. It's available.
No, I think it looks sick, man. This guy promoting his game? Of course he's gonna promote his game. He made it, right? I mean, shoot, it doesn't look bad.
On App Store and Google Play, which is good because it won't interfere with your WoW time.
Doesn't look like a bad phone game.
Swim over the coral, slightly to the right of the rock, left of the structure, and logout skip. This time, if I pull the spider, I knew to keep to the right, avoiding the elemental. Fortunately, I did not have to contend with this issue as the spider was out of sight on login. So, we made it to Arathi. In theory, we are now very close to wetlands.
I don't trust anything this guy thinks is fun. Dude, that makes... Yeah, I get what you mean with that one.
In reality, there is still a lot of danger surrounding us. This portion really just comes down to waiting for the right moment.
Okay.
There are about 3 points of danger. First, the 3-spider crossing, which we made short work of. Then we have the spider raptor pincer point, which is dealt by waiting for the spider to cross to the right of this little bump. And finally, the duo raptor punch, remedied by...
You know what's bad? When he's literally memorized all the pathings of all the mobs to run through.
Sticking close to the river. There is a failsafe here, which is that neither of these animals can swim. So in case of emergency, I can plunge myself into the waters and wait for them to reset and try again. It was not needed, and we were already making our way across the span, connecting the 2 major landmasses of Eastern Kingdoms. The start of wetlands is nary a challenge, only hindered by 2 crocs placed on either side of the road, which is something a little patience easily solves.
Oh no. Oh no!
We have made it so far, through multiple certain death scenarios standing between us and a single misstep. But it's still not over.
He just needs to zone
enter
in.
Loch Modan, we need to traverse the series of dwarf tunnels leading up the mountain. At the very last stretch, we're faced with yet another impossible scenario.
Standing
2
on the road.
Blackrock orcs flank close to either side of the road.
It's before this though. Through this one here, there's an orc like standing in the
After spending legitimately hours trying to find my way around, the simple reality was that my only chance of living is a simple tank test. If I stick hard left upon exiting the tunnel, I should only pull 1 orc. Then I need to hold a steady line as I run towards the cliff, where it will reset at the very last second, leaving me still standing if I'm lucky.
Oh, 1 health!
Okay, not close at all. I also forgot that there's a dwarf guard patrol in this area, which I'm supposed to scout before I make the run, but all's well that ends well.
Okay.
The next tunnel marks a point of large significance because it's the first tunnel within the Loch Modan logout skip region.
Okay.
Which is to say, as we perform this skip, the next time we log in will be at the graveyard just on the border of Telsamar. This is the only time where I will enact the aid of another character, and that is simply to scout the patrols around the skip. There are 3 patrols we need to be wary of.
The editing is so good in his videos. He's done a great job with it.
Mountaineer Sten to the north, Mountaineer Droken to the south,
editing is great.
and this wandering trader walking through the zone. Both the Mountaineers make brief stops by Felsamar before moving on, and after a while of waiting for people to stop bothering the trader, he eventually walks away too, leaving us the perfect opportunity to log in. As we log in, we have to be swift to get out of dodge. Droken will make his way back eventually, and we don't want to be there when that happens. But the Mountaineer has a second job. As he reaches the apex of his patrol, he should engage and slay a Trog, which is standing between us and our path up the hills.
Dude, he's memorized the freaking pathing and what they do and everything.
And while we're hiding in the mountains, Droken unknowingly executes our bidding. With him out of the way, the final piece of our puzzle at the end of the journey is a comparatively extremely simple jump up a few rocks until we eventually ascend into the dwarven and gnome starting zone
now we can roll
of Dun Morogh. Holy shit. We did it! From here, we can traverse basically half the zone while staying above all of it.
Nice!
But as I said, once the zone is reached,
I am doing the challenge, you crazy?
Is roll the next one. And after this, hopefully an easy one at that.
Maybe he's lucky and gets Dun Morogh again, so he can just stay. Oh, so close though. Teldrassil! How is he gonna get on the boat? What? I mean, it's kind of close, but how is he gonna get on that boat? Maybe he's gonna buck like in front. You guys know that buck where like you're like in front of the boat, no, you're on the boat and the boat pushes you.
After all the ruckus about how Dun Morogh is super well defended with only 3 entrances and how it's in the mountains, well, then how about Teldrassil?
Yeah.
A tree stuck literally in the middle of the ocean. Do you know how many entrances that has? 1! And it teleports you straight into the heart of the capital city. But look, I'm not gonna toy around too much with you here. I had a pretty strong inkling going into this that Teldrassil would be possible, despite how it may seem.
Okay.
Yes, if we had to take the Rutheran village into Darnassus, we would be guaranteed to die, but we're not going to.
Okay.
I spoke a bit previously about a little something called the character unstuck service. Basically, in Classic, this used to bring you to the front of your capital city, either Stormwind or Orgrimmar. But
is he gonna ask them to like bring him to Teldrassil?
At some point, I don't really know the specifics as to when the service was changed to basically function like a logout skip. And after checking the skip zones around Teldrassil, there are multiple for us to take advantage of. After some testing, the Dolonar one instantly sends a guard on you, killing you in seconds.
Okay.
But the graveyard of Darnassus is surprisingly completely devoid of any sort of guards or NPCs.
Okay.
I guess they avoid putting creatures around spirit healers even in the off chance that the enemy faction has to use it. With that said, even if we know our way in once there, we still have to reach the place. Because of the minimal issue of it sitting in a large body of water, the only way of travel is by boat. All docks are inhibited by faction guards, and guards are one of the worst NPCs in the game to aggro. They move way faster than other NPCs and can call more guards to help them. We have to avoid pulling them at all costs. But even before attending that issue, we first have to reach Darkshore. And while traveling through Ashen Vale is actually quite a feasible task for Alliance, Astranar completely blocks the way through as Horde. I'm sure there's some sort of magic I could pull off to make the trek possible, but I have a better idea yet. Because I already have to contend with 1 boat, why not make it 2? I know the way to Meniful Harbor like the back of my hand by now.
Oh yeah, it's just like a 2-hour run. Let's do it. Why not?
Yes, it will take some time, but assuredly so will walking through half the continent of Kalimdor.
Bro! Oh my god.
So, boat. Ever heard of hitching a ride?
Yeah,
basically,
that's the one.
my idea is to hit the boat at a certain angle, causing it to take me with it. And a few tries later, we're stuck like glue.
That's what I
Two
meant.
important notes. 1, there is a chance that when the boat loads into the other area, I will unclip from the boat and just fall into the water, which is a bad thing. 2, the waters of Darkshore are positively infested with threshers, and they do not take kindly to hitchhikers. I had a path scouted as we arrived to shore, but it proved needless thanks to some premature calling by an avid quester. Avoiding guards, we swam to the predetermined thresher safe spot and awaited our second ship. Once
this is gonna take the ride again.
Another ride has been hitched. Our goal is now simple. Make our way to the northwestern point of Teldrassil, just to put us into the logout skip section relating directly to the graveyard of Darnassus. If we misplace ourselves, or by some unfortunate happening the unstuck service decides to not function like usual, we will either replace directly by the Rutheran portal or someplace different entirely.
And he freaking did it? No shot. No way! Dude, what is this, man?
As that was not the case, and everything went according to plan. A quick skip up the side of a route and a hill, we were inside Teldrassil, making us probably the first level 3 Horde character to ever do so on hardcore. Challenge is not over yet, as we still need to gain a level. There simply aren't—
But the mobs are too high level, right? He has 161 ammo. He didn't buy ammo.
That many Alliance we have to worry about here, as long as we stay clear of Dolonar. Yet, it is best to stick to the level 5 enemies to be completely safe. At this point, it struck me that dying to a random cat after going through all of this would be extremely funny, but I wasn't feeling all that comedic, and after all of that, we reached level 4 and it was time to roll a new zone.
Oh, lucky. Oh, lucky.
Wait, release. Finally, some time to breathe. My goal with this challenge is to reach level 10. As you can understand, once we are past the range of the starting zones, the idea of the whole thing kinda dies down.
Yeah, because there's no threat in running around anymore, right?
Getting to the second zone of a faction is the same as the starting zone, but easier, seeing as we've had to get through basically all of them already.
Fair.
So really, reaching level 10 would be a massive win. It's also a high enough level that I cannot rely on crutches to pass. Technically, I could roll the same faction zones 10 times in a row. Realistically, the odds of that are like 1 in 10,000. Level 4 wasn't all that eventful, but the next roll decides something extremely important.
Yeah.
And that is whether or not I'm able to engage with professions. I can only learn professions in a horde zone. With them only being available at level 5, I haven't had the chance to yet.
Okay. Apparently only crafting professions have level requirement. Gathering professions are level 1.
And as luck would have it, we were blessed with a back-to-back. Thanks to this, we picked up herbalism and alchemy. Picking flowers is our first renewable source of getting money, as we can just pick some and sell to vendors, doing so without gaining XP. Moreover, it also gives us access to potions from alchemy, and as you know, having any extra health could be the difference maker. I spent an hour or 2 picking flowers, training my skills, until eventually I felt satisfied, and dropped both of them. If you know me, you know that anything other than engineering is a complete waste of time, and it was time to rectify that.
Are you bot?
Rather, I am self-found.
While target dummies are out of our reach at level 5, the reason for the season is a very nice gun, which severely increases our DPS output for the time being. And since we never know what enemies we might have to fight, extra damage is never bad. Feeling extremely strong and prepared, I finished up level 5, and it was time for another roll.
Okay. What do we get? Oh! Dude, it's just having a bad day.
Our old friend. Well, this time it's a bit different. With our new levels, new gear and supplies, the trek will be quite a bit less hazardous. Still dangerous, of course, but areas like Silver Pine and Wetlands should prove quite manageable indeed. You know the drill by now. Tirisfal, into Silver Pine, jump into the water by SFK, 20-minute swim, over the coral to the right of the rock, and...
No! No! They net... No! No! He was overconfident.
Look, what can I say? I wasn't enough to the right going by the rock and pulled a naga. Distance is so hard to gauge in the water, and I was scared of the caster in front of me, and the momentary lack of judgment rewarded me with hours upon hours wasted. I didn't even account for this happening at all. The entire stock of alchemy supplies remained unused at the time of death. After all the hardships, this was not where I expected to fall. But such is the challenge, which means we roll again.
Dude, this... Elwynn Forest, okay. Not a bad one. Not a bad one.
Our first time rolling Elwynn, thankfully as a start to a new adventure and not as an adversary in a current one. With a quick level, we were sent off to Teldrassil, forcing a deathless skip over the mountains of Gamemode. A skip which has been performed dozens of times, but I can't recall the last time I did it at level 2. Even after an encounter with a very stubborn croc, we made our way safely, got our level, and went for another roll.
Okay, Teldrassil. Durotar. It's not that bad, actually. You can get there from red shit, right?
And a callback to our last Alliance adventure and its abrupt ending.
Wait, is he gonna stealth all the way through Darkshore and...
We were once again traveling to Durotar. This time, I was not going to let haste get the best of me and thoroughly scouted the environs ahead of time. Considering the distance, it's quite astonishing how I only managed to identify 2 danger zones along the entire stretch to Durotar. One in Darkshore, where close to the end a few enemies hide within the trees, and then at the border to the Barrens, where a very stealthy spider hides amongst the local flora. But as I was on the very last stretch of my trek, I grievously misjudged just how sneaky the spider would be. Thinking it was the tree up ahead, I ran straight into its sticky web and terrible mandibles, meeting a swift death. A quick roll later, it was time for Zoner 5 to do what the others could not, hopefully. Zoner 5 turned out to be the embodiment of luck which I previously had not been blessed with during this challenge. All the way through level 5 was horde zones back to back to back to back. until eventually Teldrassil yet again came to taunt us.
But he knows how to do this.
So it is not unfamiliar territory to us. So we made our way to Menethil, and but a short hour later, while almost dying to the threshers as the boat sailed past, we once again made it to the roots of our beloved tree.
This freaking skip is insane though. That thing with the boats is so sick. Why don't I play NA? Because I'm from EU.
Do the skip, kill some enemies, and then we roll.
Ooh.
From here on out, our luck continues to soar. In fact, it got to the point where I was actually worried about completing the challenge with naught but Teldrassil to show for it. For all this babbling about a 1 in 10,000 chance, it seemed to actually come to fruition. And yes, while we had fought hard to get here, ending on such a safe and sound note felt wrong.
It's like almost too safe, yeah.
Until we hit level 9.
Oh, the Dun Morogh finisher. Yeah, I only play 15.
This time, for sure. We are at a higher level than ever.
Yeah.
Fully prepared with stronger potions.
Ooh.
We have stealth for the first time since
Innovation.
playing Horde.
Oh my god, there's something in my eye.
All the cards are in our favor. Now we just have to play them right. So, say it with me. Hopefully one last time. From Tirisfal, through Silver Pine, into the waters by SFK, swim for 20 minutes, then this time while stealthed, over the coral, hard in throat while staying slightly to the right of the rocky outcrop, then left of the structure, and we make it safely to shore. Log out skip while in stealth to hopefully avoid any spindly friends, then run as we log in. At this point, I was definitely afraid of everything. It felt like I had forgotten at what distance enemies aggro at, how the patrol's path, and had lost all my confidence. Eventually, the coast cleared up, and we made our way through Arathi, through the wetlands, and into the tunnels to Loch Modan. Thankfully, it seemed like the scout blocking our path had been cleared out.
Oh, that's
and while
lucky.
he shouldn't have proven any problem whatsoever anymore due to our level and potions, it's still nice. Next, a quick logout skip and a scout on our main should lead us safe passage through the loch and up the hillside into the mountains of Dun Morogh. We had reached it.
Damn.
Unlike last time though, we are not done just yet.
Leveled.
And we still have a whole level to gain. I decided that my final place, in one way or another, would be the Golbolar Quarry. It was now time to commence a very long 30-minute grind, relentlessly killing trogs.
He says this is the long grind? Brother, man, you spend 2 hours and... What?
While some Alliance players were seemingly a bit confused to see me there, we progressed without much issue until an overwhelming dread punched me in the form of a yellow weapon on the funny armor man. There is simply no way for me to repair here, so alternatively, I will have to gain the last few pieces of XP by punching, which is most likely impossible, or get dropped another dagger. Both options seemed unlikely, so our best bet was just to hope that our current dagger just wouldn't break. Still, I do not know why I doubt Zoner 5's luck after all this time, as we were blessed with a backup dagger just in case it goes downhill. And as predicted, eventually when half a bar away from leveling up, our dagger broke, which would have spelled disaster unless we got the back.
Dude, the storytelling in this one, man, goddamn, it's
finish off the grind and finally, 4 dead characters later, reach level 10 on a Horde nonetheless. And I know I never made it to a Horde zone as Alliance, but don't you worry. To make up for that, I created an Alliance character and swiftly made my way to all 3 starting zones to prove it possible.
Just because he could!
It was significantly easier, if I might add. Anyways, thanks for watching. See ya.
Dude, this video was so good, man. Yo, Jamponos is actually insane. His editing in these videos are so spot on. They're great, man. This is absolutely insane. I can't believe he only I mean, still a lot, man, dude. His channel could be way freaking bigger, dude. They're so amazing videos. That is insane. He will watch literally anything at this point, YouTube algorithm. Holy shit, man. So good. When am I doing the challenge? Dude, there is no way I'm doing that. That is absolutely ridiculous, but hey, he did it. He freaking did it, dude, and that is badass.